Hey, hello. This video, as I like to say, when the Band-Aid comes off, the truth comes out. So I'm going to be doing a video today on why I support Donald Trump, and I don't need my glasses for this. So currently in America, there's 50 states in America, and there's about 18 primaries left in America. And I'm sorry on Periscope, if you ask me questions, I'll get to them later, or we'll chat later. I don't have my glasses on, so I really can't see any comments. But okay, so we have 50 states in America, and about 32 of them have already had the primary. And of that, I just really quick want to say there are 924 delegates left to be had. At this current lull in the primaries, there is 755 delegates slated for Trump, which means he would need another 482. And at this point, Cruz got 465, and he would need another 722. So it's interesting. It's almost like a flip, because Trump has 755, Cruz needs 772. Cruz has 465 delegates, and Trump needs 482. So it's interesting as like this kind of a cross pattern there. Okay, so but I want to I have some points that I'm going to go over with you all. I'll show you here on Periscope, where you can see my points, what I wrote down. Here on YouTube, you can see the points. So I've got like 8 points. I'm going to try to jam through these points as quick as I can. Okay, so first of all, is Trump, is well pedigreed as an American family. He came from a family. His father was very successful in Queens and Brooklyn as a real estate guy. He did a lot of like low-income housing and stuff like this. So Trump was around, like low-income people as he was growing up, because his father was building these we called them projects in the New York City area. So the government projects, and we called them just projects. That's what their name was. I guess it was because it was a project, to build. But then it became this name, projects. In fact, I even lived, when I lived in New York, I lived in Staten Island, and I lived, there's some projects on Manor Road. Or you can go down on a Google map and you can take a look and see. So I live close to those projects. There was other projects too, a little bit more urban on Staten Island, like Mariners Harbor and Park Hill. These were areas of the more urban. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, so Trump went to Wharton, and this is a very hard school to get into. You got to be pretty smart to get into this. And even with, a rich family or whatever, you have the abilities, to be in that upper class, whatever you want to call it. You still need to perform. And from what I understand, Trump performed well. I didn't do a ton of research before this video because I just wanted to get it out. So he had grades. He went to one of the best, if not the best, business school in the United States. Okay, so that's number one. Now, how was I introduced to Donald Trump? Okay, I was a speed skater as a kid, ice skater. I competed in skating, and one of the rinks that we competed at was in Central Park. A beautiful rink in the heart of Central Park. Go on Google Images and take a look, and you can see Central Park ice skating rink. I mean, right in the heart of New York City, right in the heart of Central Park. Beautiful. And what happened was, the rink got dilapidated, as anything does over time, and the city, I think it was like 3 years, okay, if I can remember correctly. And you can look up this stuff. Like I'm saying, I'm shooting off what I know just from my memory, but it was like 3 years the skating rink was closed. 3 years. And I guess at that point Trump must have had his Donald Jr. and Eric and Ivanka. Maybe they were young at that point. And he lived in New York City. Probably wanted to take his kids skating. And, probably a year went by, 2 years went by. But, Donald by now, and he was just like, man, I want to take I'm sure this is what he said. I don't know, like I'm saying, but he probably said in his head, look, man, I want to take my kids ice skating. I'm going to get this I'll do this. I'll fix the damn rink, and I'll fix it under budget and cheaper and better. And he did all that. Okay? Under budget, cheaper, quicker than the city could. Then the city dragged their feet with all sorts of God only knows what. But this is one of the points that I will get to. I don't even think I wrote this down with the debt on here, which I should write down debt. Or I'll get to that now. I mean, you could see Trump is bringing that, brought the skating rink project in under budget and quicker. He brings all his buildings. I mean, now you don't make $10 billion by wasting money in construction, because I've been in construction and money can fly out fast. I mean, you literally want to count every nail, every screw, everything, every gallon of paint, every bucket of drywall material, every ounce of steel. You don't even count steel by the ton. Trump probably counts it by the pound. Okay? And this is what you have to do. If you watch, they say if you watch the pennies, the dollars, follow. So, Trump has got an experience of how to run. He's a businessman, and he's got an experience of how to run business. And this is very important. This is something that you really want to understand, that America needs. America doesn't need some politicians no more. We don't need any more of these politicians. They're killing the country. They've been killing the country for a century, over a century. And I'll get to things like the Federal Reserve and stuff like that in other videos. I didn't write that down on my list. But it's very important to understand that America was bought and sold in 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act. We'll get to that point down the road. Okay, so the next point I wanted to get to is this 3 marriages. I've been married twice. I'm looking to get married a third time. So I think I can almost speak on this topic. I'm looking for my Melania. So any of you girls out there, just give a shout out over here. And as we grow, and that's another thing I didn't even write down on here also, is we also grow in New York. We grew up in a very democratic, Democratic Party atmosphere. And this was a situation that, we were brought up, Donald and I were brought up in this. But let me get to marriage, and then I'll try to get back to this Democratic, allegedly he's changed his mind, right? Okay, so, I got married once. The first time I got married, I was young. It was lust. Okay? Maybe Donna and, and Ivana, maybe that was with them. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to dig into his marriages or anything like that. But he was married to a very fine woman. She's very nice. She's very fine. She doesn't speak ill of Donald. Okay? But, unfortunately, in modern societies, we're bombarded with so much stuff. We don't live. People in cities don't live in a rural area where, your neighbor is 40 miles away, 20 miles away. You got to take a horse and, trot with your horse for 30 minutes or an hour to even see your neighbor. It's not that way. In America and in the cities, we are bombarded with all sorts of stuff. So I think when we're younger, a lot of this Madison Avenue stuff fills our heads, and we get, involved with, almost a lustful relationship maybe, and not a love-filled relationship. And we just grow. As we get older, we grow. Now, I understand that, when he was married to Marla, he was kind of like an absentee husband. He was a lot in the Far East and stuff like that. I saw an interview with him, and he admits, I was a horrible husband to Marla. I was not around. And that's not a good thing for a relationship. It's hard for a relationship to survive through distances. And then now, we're moving to Melania. What can you say? I mean, I don't care. They show scantily clad pictures of the woman. I mean, she's hot. I mean, let's face it. I mean, he's worth $10 billion. The woman is hot. For sure hot. But she's classy. And when she was younger, she had a hot body, and she, promoted herself. I mean, would Donald have even met her, if she was wearing some nun outfit? Would he even have been interested in her at that point as he was making this crossover into maturity? Maybe not. Okay, but Melania, if you see her now, I mean, she's just, she ain't getting naked for nobody now, okay, except for Donald. And just the fact that, when she was younger, she was proud of her body. This is our culture, unfortunately. I mean, not my culture anymore. I'm, into modesty now, and you can even see, I wear, layers of clothes. I'm talking to you on a video. I'm not really into scantily clad things anymore, but, this is the culture that we were brought up in, and this was, I guess, the initial attraction that Donald had to Melania. And the thing is that she's smart, she's intelligent, she's really a sharp girl, and she's got thick skin, which you're going to need in this kind of presidential race. And I give her a lot of credit. She's an immigrant. She's a legal immigrant. See, she came to America. So people say Donald hates immigrants. He's married to an immigrant. The first generation. Melania's first generation in the United States. So to say she's an immigrant, it's absurd. It is absurd to even think that he hates immigrants. He just doesn't want people that are illegal or a drain on his system. It'd be like if on his job site, if he came in the morning and stuff was missing from the job site. He had a couple of trailers full of drywall and it's gone. You can't make a company work with that type of bleed. And in America, we're having this type of bleed right now. This is a very big problem for us, very big problem. Okay, so the next point I was going to go to is bankruptcies. I want to see how I'm doing on time. Okay, 11 minutes. So you can see we're running out on time. Okay, so his bankruptcies. He filed bankruptcies for these businesses. He bought these businesses probably understanding that he would have to restructure them and refile them. This is legal in America. This was a method of business in America, okay, to restructure. Okay? When Obama came into office, I remember, because I was involved in the industry, they were trying to restructure mortgages. Because people had these crazy mortgages, these ninja mortgages, and all this stupidity. And these mortgages were restructured. People, homeowners, you got restructured. I know people that go crazy on their credit cards and then have to do like a debt consolidation. This is the same thing. How many debt consolidations are done in America? I mean, I could spend 2 days doing research on a 15, 20-minute, 30-minute video, a couple of videos. But, it just doesn't, just look into it yourself and see how, Google that or, web crawler that. How many, restructures, how many credit card consolidations are there in America on a yearly basis? And for you to say for Trump to not be able to go into a reconsolidation of his business, it's absurd. This is the way business is done in America, and it is a tool that you can use just like when you're building a building. You have a hammer, you have a saw, you have a level, you have a measuring tape, chalk line, tools. Bankruptcy and restructuring is a tool. And it's a legal tool. Okay. And then I'm going to get to one last point now. It's point 5. Is that he is a patriot. He loves his country. He loves his country. Donald is a patriot. He loves his country. And he doesn't want to see the country destroyed. He wants Americans. I mean, yeah, he could sell his stuff to all of this, this globalist class. He could have joined this globalist class. They would welcome him in with open arms. I mean, look at the place. If you've seen an interview like Greta's interview and the other interviews done, the CIA guy, Anderson Cooper, they've done videos in Trump's place. I mean, look at the place. It's a palace. He already lives in it. I think living in the White House is going to be a downgrade for him. A downgrade. I mean, for most of us, it would be an upgrade. I mean, you could see part of my house here. The White House would definitely be an upgrade for me. I think for Trump, it'll be a downgrade. I from what I understand, his plane is nicer than Air Force One. So, think about these things. He's stepping down to come into the office of president, okay? And I don't mean that. I mean, being the president is a very powerful and honorable thing. But what I'm saying is, like, financially, where he lives, Mar-a-Lago, in I used to live in Florida. I'd never been to Mar-a-Lago, but I've been to some of the Palm Beach mansions, and they're gorgeous. Gorgeous. So, things like this, and his penthouse in New York City, and his airplane, he's got some nice, toys and nice residences, and these are things that, he's worked hard for, and I don't begrudge them of him, and he I'm sure he would like every American to have these nice things, and that's one of the reasons why he wants to be president. It's because this country, I'm in Israel now, but I'm saying this country, meaning I'm a dual citizen, and America is in some If you don't realize, folks, the trouble that America's in, you need literally to do some homework with this, okay? You need to do some homework on how screwed up America is and the kind of problems you're in. You're in denial if you don't understand it, you don't see it. And that's the story for this first video, and I wish you all a great day.